Hello lovely people of the internet, it's me, Hannah, and welcome back to my channel. And today's video is going to be my March TBR list. I have quite a few books on this list, one of which I'm actually currently reading, and I'll get to that in a minute. I have, I think, 5 books on my TBR list for March. And one of which I don't know if I'm going to really get to this month because the book I'm currently reading, which why not start there, is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. And oh boy, is this book quite tough cookie to get through. My Dark Vanessa follows 2 narratives of 2 different timelines. One is in 2000 when Vanesdsa is 15 years old, and she is basically recounting the event of when she's having this love affair with her 42-year-old teacher, and the other is in 2017, which is when she's kind of looking back at that, and there have been new allegations toward the teacher of abuse and assault, and it's basically her 32-year-old self is like reflecting and looking back and like trying to basically questioning the whole point of their relationship. Was it romantic? Oh wait, like it was love, right? We had what we had back then when I was 15 years old is love. And it's also kind of going into the whole thought of victim blaming and victimhood, and how we tend to victim shame a lot of people, or majority victims, and that's a common theme throughout Vanessa's, like when she's 32 years old. Yeah, not gonna lie, this is quite hard for me to read because of how disturbing it is. I mean, this is a debut novel, which I love it. I mean, I love the writing for it, and the fact that this was a debut novel and is astonishing to me because she writes so descriptively and so well, and I think this novel definitely does not shy away from showing you the uncomfortable parts of what Vanessa is going through when she's 15 years old. And it's more of the honest and truthful look in what grooming and assault is. Yeah, definitely if you do plan on reading this, trigger warning for assault, rape, grooming, and abuse. So yeah, I'm only 98 pages in, and there's a lot going on. The next book, I've been reading basically a manga on the side, basically when I don't really want to read My Dark Vanessa, because sometimes I just need a break from all of that uncomfortable mess. It's not a mess, but it's uncomfortable to read, and that is Jujutsu Kaisen. And currently here in Japan and also worldwide, there is an anime adaptation that's currently airing, and I have yet to watch it, and I know a lot of the people who've been watching the anime say that it's a lot better than the manga. So basically the manga is now obsolete in most cases of anime adaptations, you know, in the past couple of years. If it's been adapted from a manga or a light novel or anything, usually the anime adaptation is better. So this manga follows basically this teenage boy who is extremely strong, and his school's like sports team are trying to recruit him into joining the sports team because if he joins they could win a lot of sports events. But Itadori is the main character. Itadori would rather be hanging out with the misfits in the occult research club, which is basically all about occult stuff and supernatural stuff. And basically they find this occult item, and the series kind of kicks up from there about the repercussions of what happens after they open up that item, and it's a huge thing that ties Itadori's character into the supernatural world. And Jujutsu Kaisen is translated to Jujutsu is magic and Kaisen is event, so it literally translates to magic event. And there is a high school called Jujutsu Kaisen, which is so cool, and I'm thoroughly enjoying this manga so far. I'm on the 3rd one, and it's a great read if you enjoy reading like manga. And yeah, I haven't read manga in probably a good solid I don't know, a long time. And this is the English translation, which is so lucky for me because there's this bookstore basically where I go to school in that has this huge like floor of English books, and that's where I bought this. So the next book I am hoping to get to this month, in the month of March, is Sally Rooney's Conversations with Friends. I read Normal People last year. It was only, out of 2 books that I read last year, I read Normal People and Pride and Prejudice, and Conversations with Friends is Sally Rooney's debut novel, and it basically follows 2 best friends who used to be girlfriends, and it follows them kind of as they're like brought into this like wealthy world, and they kind of get into this relationship with this older couple. And I think it mainly follows the main character, Francis, as he kind of starts a relationship with the husband. And I absolutely adored Normal People. I cannot praise that book and that series enough. I know there's a lot of people who do not enjoy the book because of the writing style and how the characters are kind of bland and also like they're not likable, but I think that's the whole point of it, and like I personally enjoyed it. And I think what's the cool part about Sally Rooney's writing is that she writes with when she's doing like dialogue, she doesn't use the quotation marks. And the only author that I've read that reminds me of that style is the author of The Road. I read that my senior year of high school and absolutely loved it. I love the book and I love the movie adaptation too. And that writing style really reminds me of like Sally Rooney's writing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and I'm pretty sure I can get through this quite fast because I read Normal People in like 2 days, and yeah. But I do know it does. I don't know if it's as depressing as Normal People, but I will see, and looking forward to reading that. And the second to last book that I'm planning on reading is The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Hadden. This follows I believe a 15-year-old boy. I believe it's set in England. I think it's set in England or like Scotland or somewhere in the UK. And it follows a 15-year-old boy named Kristen as he basically tries to crack this murder case. He found a dog on his neighbor's yard, and he's trying to figure out who done did it, who killed the dog, why they killed the dog. And I think the reason why I picked this up is like I've been wanting to read this for a long time because it was adapted into a Broadway play, and I don't know if it won Tonys that year when it came out. I think it did, but I could be wrong. But it basically follows the boy is basically dealing with Asperger's syndrome, which no one really diagnoses Asperger's syndrome anymore because yeah, the person who made that is a Nazi. Asperger's is also now commonly more diagnosed as autism disorder or ASD. I love reading and watching stories that follow characters that are on the spectrum, and this is another video I'll probably be, or a series that I'll be filming later on when I'm back home in the States, which is going to be in 2 weeks. I am someone who has been living with a disability my whole life, and there is a possibility that I could be on the spectrum, and that is definitely something I'm going to get assessed about and look into, and definitely something I'm going to document, and I'm going to continue telling my story about that. But I think this is also a very short read too, so I think I can get through this pretty fast, and looking forward to reading that. And the last book I have on my list is a book I'm not entirely sure that I will get to in time by this end of this month. I could audiobook it, but I personally don't enjoy audiobooks that much because it's hard for me to really pay attention to like listening to it and reading it too. And I love annotating my books, and I feel like with audiobooks I can't do that. So yeah, and audiobooks is very distracting to me. This book, I believe it came out 2019. 2019, I believe. Yeah, 2019. And it's the memoir by Chanel Miller. And Chanel Miller was the survivor of a Stanford sexual assault case, and in 2017. And at the time, Chanel Miller was actually anonymous. She went by the name of Emily Doe, or Jane Doe. One of those, I cannot remember. But this is her memoir about her telling the story about her experiencing the assault, the case that she had to go through in the trial. And I've read a couple pages of it, and I think the introduction and a little bit of the first chapter, and I'm already in love with the writing. And every time I talk about this to someone or anytime I mention this, it makes me very emotional because of the topic that this memoir talks about. And I don't know, it's one that I'm looking forward to. This will be my first non-fiction book of the year, and I'm looking forward to that. And I believe it's important to read stories about assault and listen to the victim and believe the victim. And I think that's another reason why I picked up My Dark Vanessa. Even though My Dark Vanessa is fiction, there was some controversy that surrounded the basically the publication of this book, which I can understand that, but and I can sympathize with the other author who was bashing My Dark Vanessa. But at the same time, it's not this author's fault that happened to her, and it's more of the publishing community that failed her. And also the fact that that author who was claiming that the author Kate Elizabeth Russell was plagiarizing her memoir was kind of, without reading it, is kind of but what makes me more mad about this situation, about this novel, is that basically it forced this author to come out with her own story of abuse, and I find that really sick and inappropriate. Authors, no matter what genre they write in, or if it's like there is a genre of own voices, which is telling stories from their own experiences, no matter what, no artist, no writer, no like celebrity should ever be forced out into telling their own story about abuse or assault unless they are comfortable with talking about said assault. It is so wrong, I think. And I think that's a part of, our society, and I think the generation of current times is that we tend to overshare sometimes, and we always want to know things. But with Kate Elizabeth Russell, I think was like a really sad case. No one should talk about something so traumatizing to them, and even if this book is like partially based off of her truth, just leave it at that. Don't try to force her into telling a story that will cause her pain. Yeah. And that's why I'm also going to read Chanel Miller, because even though My Dark Vanessa is fictional, it's still very realistic, and it's telling stories of cases that happen every day to everyday people, no matter the age. While Chanel Miller is a memoir, so this is her story to tell. And I think that's an issue about writing stories with characters that deal with assault or anything like that. I think you take it as you want it, and go into it with a grain of salt. I believe My Dark Vanessa took, 18 years for her to write, and she researched it a lot about all of the issues, and I think it really shows in it, and I respect that. I respect this novel for that on so many levels, and I think that's why it's so hard for me to read sometimes, but I love it and I respect it. And I know that I'm gonna read this and I'm gonna be really sad and emotional and disturbed, and once again I'm going to respect her story and I'm gonna respect it. So yeah, so those are all the books I'm gonna read this month in March, hopefully. Do the thumbnail. Okay, yeah. So make sure you like that like button, press the subscribe button, and ring that notification bell if you want to get notified on new videos that I post, and comment down below what books you're planning on reading this month, and if you have read any of these books, tell me what you thought about them. So I will see you guys in the next video, and have a great rest of your day.